Howe here from RB Bass Outdoors. Springtime is on us. I'll give you an update on Lake Camanche. Quite a bit here actually to update you on. So we had planned a trip to take a kid and his dad out fishing, and they ended up having Little League, no surprise. So we kept the trip going anyways. We rented a cottage. This time we stayed at the South Shore, which is a little different. Definitely something worth checking out. About $125 a night. Nice cottage. Sleeps 2 people, no problem. Has a bed. Some of them have pull-out beds. Some of them have couches, so you need to make sure you check on that. But little kitchen, shower, power, everything you need to hang out for the weekend, go fishing, bring your wife, kids, family, whatever. Pretty cool. So this time of year, they stock the ponds there at Lake Camanche, and I've never fished them my entire life. I always tow my bass boat right by them and go hit the water. This trip was really no different to start. When I got there, we had a super cold winter storm blow through, dropped the daytime temperature highs down to 45 degrees. But even then, it was sunny and kind of like this when I got there. So it didn't really feel bad. About an hour of fishing, caught 3 largemouth bass, up to 4 1/4, 4 1/2, 4 3/4, somewhere around there. It was a good fish. It wasn't quite a 5. These fish were shallow, and it was just like it is now, cloudy, a little cool. An hour later, the wind came up, the rain started, the bite completely shut off, and I didn't go there on Friday to get drenched. I was freezing cold already. The bite stopped. I took the boat in, was meeting up with my partner at 3 o'clock. So went to the cabin, got dry, all that stuff. Said, hey, let's go check out this stock trout pond thing, and there's all kinds of people out there fishing, kids, family. What's great about the South Shore Trout Pond is that you can drive right to the water. So if you got that grandma, that grandpa, or that kid you just want to get fishing for a little bit, it's a great spot to come, drive your car right to the water, park, and fish for some stock trout. A lot of different ways to catch those. Your typical sliding rig with power bait is one. Me, myself, I like to throw lures, so I caught one on a Castmaster, was there like 10 minutes, caught a rainbow trout, tried for another hour, never caught any. So that was cool. We caught a trout on the first day, and we went back. The next day I went there, and they had stocked it with lightning trout. So we slept in because it's super cold in the morning, post front, it rained all night. So we planned on laying low in the morning and fishing later in the day, letting it warm up and try to get some springtime bass out on the bass boat. While we did that, I went back to the pond, seen these guys just roping the lightning trout. Really cool. These things are, 2.5 to 3.5 pounds, fight really good, but only a couple guys were catching them, and I had to figure out what they were doing. So I went over them. The guy had a little jig head with like about a 3.5-inch watermelon red skinny Cinco. And he was just throwing it in front of those lightning trout and twitching it and reeling it, and they would eat it. And this guy was tearing them up right in front of everybody. And there was another group of people that was doing the same thing, and they were fishing little tiny Cincos on a little tiny jig head and just shaking the tip constantly as they reeled it. And these guys were catching these nice, lightning trout. I was able to go back. I had the exact jig head the guy was using in my bass box for little swim baits. So I took that out. I chopped a Cinco in a third. I had some watermelon reds in the boat, of course, because it's spring. And I went down there and proceeded to catch my first lightning trout there at the ponds. I ended up hooking 4, caught 3 in about, an hour and a half. So that was pretty cool. Biggest one was like probably a good 3 3/4 pound lightning trout. I wish I'd have took pictures. I didn't. I was too busy just trying to catch them. You could see them swimming around out there, and you try to throw that jig head in front of them and just get them active, and they'd turn and come at it, and boom, they'd eat it. It was a blast, man. I used my float and fly rod, so 6-pound test, 8-foot, super flimsy rod, slinging that little jig head way out there and slow rolling it in, and was able to catch those lightning trout. So after that, about 12 o'clock, we got the bass boat hooked up, went out on the big pond, Lake Camanche. Let's talk about Camanche. Spring, the water is full. It's probably 95% to 100% true capacity. If it's in flood stage, it could go a little higher, but it's about full. We'll call it 90, 95, but it's full. So the lake's fishing really big. A lot of wind going in different directions. You had rain, you had cold, you had post front. It's blowing out the south. It's gusting out of the east. It's crazy up there right now. But with that said, some largemouth bass have already spawned. Beds are empty. There are some bucks up on beds. Seen a few cruisers in one area. never saw any huge females. I saw maybe a 5 or 6 pounder that would they're just leaving the bed because the water's so clear. You get near it, if they're not locked, they're gone. They're 20 feet off the bed by the time you see them. But with the warm weather coming next week, those largemouth are going to be moving into those pockets. Look for the pockets and coves that have grass up on the bank. And I mean like stick-up grass. And you'll see rock, little stick-up grass. And go look at those sections. Fish from the points in. There's another video I posted about checking on springtime, spawning hunts. And that was right on Lake Camanche. So check that out. But look at the pockets and coves. We had water temperature from 58 to 62. Wind-blown areas are closer to the 58, and up in the pockets and arms, you get to 61, almost 61.8 was the most I saw. So day 2, we went out, and it was kind of struggle. I went up, tried to get into some bays. Wind was blowing in every direction, gusting. Caught a couple small fish. Caught a little buck spot, shallow. Caught a couple largemouth, shallow. They were all little bucks, and not the size fish I'd caught out of the main body the other day. So I continued to go up river and just change tactics. I took away the green pumpkin melon stuff, went to a little purple worm on a weedless dart head, and started fishing bluff walls and just covering water, but with the worm. And my boat would be in 30 feet. I'm fishing bluff walls, leading into pockets, leading into guts, coves, pockets, long creek arms, whatever you could find that's heading inward that's got steep water up the river. And right off the bat, I stuck a spot that was almost pushing 4 pounds, super chunky little pre-spawn spot. They're spitting up crawdads and baby bluegill, okay? Your boat had to be in 30 feet to catch those fish. Now, this bite started like after 2 o'clock, right? So those fish were moving into that 30-foot to 15-foot column later in the day when there's a little breeze and it warmed up, and they were chewing. And I probably caught 17 to 18 pounds of spotted bass, all in one arm, all on that little EWG 4.5-inch clear purple worm, just dragging it real slow with occasional hops, maybe even a little shaking here there, but not much. Throw it up, drag it down real slow, let it come off those ledges, pick it up, they're just swimming deep with it. That was pretty fun. I mean, it was a 2-hour window, probably caught 15 fish, over 17-pound bag of spots. Had a lot of fun. I wish I took pictures of those things, but I was so having fun so much catching fish that I didn't stop. And finally I took a picture or two of some smaller fish, but these spots were incredibly chunky and puking up food and bait. So we called it early. It was like 4 o'clock, got off the water, short day, went back to the trout pond, caught another lightning trout, missed 2 more, and then it was getting dark, so we went out the fire pit and cooked up some ribs and had some food. So a good time at Lake Camanche South Shore. Great place to go get a cottage, bring the kids, and not be in any hurry. The ramp is so close, you could go launch 4 times in a day if you wanted to. And there's a cove right there in South Shore that the largemouth are moving into to spawn. So you don't got to go far. Or you can venture out there on the main lake or go up the river like I did and chase some spotted bass. Today I went back out again. Final day Sunday. Water temps cool because of the overnights and the lows. I got back down in that 58-ish, and the bite's a little more sluggish in that 58. It's definitely better later in the day. But I still managed to catch a good amount of spotted bass. I did not target largemouth till the very end of the day. Caught a couple small largemouth. Didn't catch as many bigger spots today. I caught 2, but when I would hook one and be bringing it to the boat, there'd be a wolf pack of 3-pound spots following that other 3-pound spot. So they're on the move. They're in that pre-spawn mode up there. Never tried really much reaction. I threw some glide baits, had 1 follower when it was raining, but the water's crystal clear. I just wasn't feeling that at all. I just wasn't feeling it. Didn't get a lot of follows. I was just wasting time. So slowed it down, went finesse, either green pumpkin melon 4-point, 7.5 or 9.5 flirt worm by Reaction Innovations caught them, and then a clear purple worm by Zoom, little finesse worm. So those are the 2 baits that did the best for me. Today I probably caught 15 fish. They were a little shallower. They were mostly bucks. They were like 2.5-pound spotted bass, still nice. All catch and release. We didn't keep any of those. And then when I was leaving, I went and checked out a little pocket after seeing my friend on the water. I said, well, I'll go check that out. It's my last stop. And there was trout swimming around and bass. So I Had a Senko on, fired it out a few times, didn't get no bass to bite, but the trout were attacking, and I ended up sticking another trout at the end of the day. So all in all, I had fun. I got my first lightning trout in the stock pond. I caught rainbow trout in the stock pond. I caught largemouth bass on the lake. I caught spotted bass on the lake. Had excellent camping, excellent fire pits. Check out my social media at CalFisher71 on Instagram, Ron Howe on Facebook. You'll see a bunch of pictures I'll post over the next few days of all the different sunset pictures and just stuff that I did when I took pictures there, some of the fish catches and everything else. So Ron Howe, Audrey Bass Outdoors, checking out. Go check out Lake Camanche South Shore. It's going to be pretty good for the next month before we start getting hot, and then it's time to start throwing that top water, get out those walking baits and have some fun. So enjoy yourself, have a great spring. Check out Lake Camanche. We'll see you.